Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today or this morning, this evening, the afternoon, wherever you are, we are going over episode 7 of season 2 of Generation Q, titled Light. And there is so much that happens in this episode. We seem to be setting up all of our couples. Well, we've set them up. We're actually throwing a lot of them into the fire in this episode and having some real slow burns that have happened over the course of the season actually start something in this episode. So I really enjoyed it, especially the end. So as you guys know, I normally separate the characters and talk about them individually just to make going through the episode a little bit easier. This week, there's going to be a lot of couples talking about them together and no Micah and Maribel this week. So I'm going to start out with Sophie, and I'm just going to pair Sophie and Finley up this week because they have pretty much all of their scenes together apart from Finley's little scene with Dani. So Sophie and Finley seem to be very happy in this episode. I was wondering what the kind of bump in the road would be, because we all know people can't be too happy and settled on the L word. I thought it was going to be something to do with Finley's substance abuse, and in a way kind of. So I didn't think of this until I started watching this episode, but when I started watching the episode, I kept thinking about those pictures where Finley is in the same clothes and Sophie is standing on some steps, and I thought, oh my god, Finley gets arrested, so that is, what we're left with at the end of the episode. And I went in thinking that, so when she was getting in the car, I was thinking, oh, this is obviously how it happens, because although Finley may have not drank too much when Sophie was with her and watching her, I don't personally think you should have anything and drive, but the law is the law, and most people, depending on body weight and all that stuff, you can have 2 drinks and drive. And maybe, we're led to believe Sophie definitely thinks that Finley should be fine. But the thing when you have a substance abuse problem is that you hide, and you are either embarrassed or ashamed, or you just don't want people to know how much you're actually using. And we have seen Finley before, hiding, the beer cans under the trash and things. So Finley could have been drinking all day, and Sophie did pull out that flask. So she's probably not even aware, and because she's so used to drinking so much that it probably isn't really affecting her as much. But still, I really think that it would be interesting to go down this angle with Finley and see about her substance abuse problems and if she's willing to get help, and then we can bring Tess in, because we did get that bit at the start of the episode. I'll talk about that more when we talk about Carrie, but I would really like to see Finley go down the path of getting help and working on herself, because it's clear that she has a problem, and we did get that reference back to her family and saying that her parents kicked her out when she was 18. So that's one thing I would love more of this season, or even next, that we get more backstory in Finley, especially now that kind of her and Sophie, everything's cleared up, and I want to see Finley doing all those things that she was saying, getting a job and making Sophie happy and all these things. So I think Finley, there's a lot of potential there, and I'd love to see it. But for right now, Finley. I'll talk about this more in my trailer breakdown, so look out for that very quickly after this video comes out. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be a smooth ride for Finley next episode. I did like, though, that, whenever Sophie and Finley were together at the event, and Finley was kind of like smoozing with people and talking to that Barry guy. And I mean, I really didn't like last episode the way Sophie was like, Finley's not that bad, and it's like, this is supposed to be the person you love. Like, is that really the best way to talk about them? So I'm glad that Sophie is seeing that, you know, you don't have to be some super uber connected rich person. You can just be like a nice down to earth person. And if you, it's like charisma, like you either have it or you don't, and just what you do with that charisma. I mean, Finley definitely has it, and she definitely is one of those people that you'd meet and you'd be like, they're just a nice person, you know. She makes people feel seen and special and stuff. So I'd really like to see more of that too. I did really like the scene where Finley kind of went over to Dani. Finley seems to be someone who really, really cares, and I definitely think that it tracks for her character that, like, she obviously like loves Sophie, but they didn't go about things in the best way. So I do appreciate Finley taking that step and seeing her try to reach out to Dani, even though, of course, like, Dani is totally valid and in her right to be mad. I mean, yeah. So moving on to Dani, I'm so happy about Dani and Gigi. I'm so happy. They are my ship. I would die for them at the moment. And yesterday we got that little clip of them on the bench, and I put it out on my channel, and a lot of people were talking about it. And then I saw some people losing hope, and I feel like the L Word just always does this. Like, they take it all away and then they're like, psych, never mind, here you go. Like, here they all are being adorable together. And I just, the Dani Gigi thing has been perfect, because yes, we got the gift that was Jabet RIP, but I think that they did it exactly right. Like, if they rushed into it, say Dani and Gigi got together in like episode 3, I don't feel like it could have been I feel like this could be the real deal, like the real deal. I know it's the L Word, so I know like they're only going to be happy for like 0.2 seconds, but I love them together. I think they're adorable, and I just love them. I saw a tweet the other day that was like, imagine if Dani and Gigi say I love you in Persian first, and I was like, oh my god, I cannot handle them. And just both actresses were great in their scenes together, and I loved the bit where Dani is like, why have you been with everyone I know? And I was like, oh, Dani, sweet summer child, welcome to being a lesbian.
Well, why have you been with everybody I know? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
but
that is such an exaggeration.
I know, but can I trust you? Come in.
And because I mean, I guess Dani's only really dated like Micah and Sophie, and then Gigi's like totally offended because, you know, she hasn't been with Shane, but everyone else, yes. So I thought it was great, and I loved their scene at the end. I loved their little speech. There is nothing but love from me for Dani and Gigi. I love both the characters. I love them together. I love both the actors. I think everyone is amazing, and I'm sure there's going to be some drama or issues or something because it is the L Word, but I love this couple and I love what they've done with it. And even though yesterday we saw that clip and everybody was getting a little bit disheartened, and then in the interview Ari Mandy was, I want Dani to go and like date a bunch of people and stuff, but they always do this to us. They're always messing with us. So that's also why I kind of have like a speck of hope for Bette and Tina, but I'll talk about them more in a minute. So Micah wasn't in this episode, neither was Maribel, and we're going to move into our OGs, and starting out with Shane. So again, another couple I was so happy about in this episode was Shane and Tess. So I think that they did this exactly right too. Like, it was a slow burn, they didn't rush it. And yeah, it was, you know, totally cliche and cute. Like, they're in the rain and... But I love them taking Carrie home because that totally tracks for Shane, who is like always that friend. And Tess also is someone who obviously is like stone cold sober, and you know, she has had her own issues with substance. Like, I like that she was like looking after Carrie. And I, as someone who's like totally sober too, oh my god, I've been there so many times driving all the drunk people home. So I definitely was identifying with Tess in that moment. And I just loved Shane and Tess. I think that they're great for one another. And the thing with the poker thing is, I feel like I got a little bit of an answer here, because I know previously I've said like we haven't got tons of information about what's going on, but the fact that Shane was talking about a £1,000 buy-in, like, they can't be playing for crazy money. So I wish we still got like a little bit more info on what exactly they're doing with this like poker night thing, and what like Shane's ultimate goal is with this. But yeah, I just thought the Shane and Tess thing, they've done this right as well. Like, it's a slow burn. They didn't rush into it. They left us like, you know, waiting for more all the time. And I also loved like earlier on the Shane and Carrie conversations, and Carrie kind of saying to Shane about like, oh, I'm trying to, you know, fit in like this uber beautiful world.
I love Tina. She's family, so if there's anything I can do.
I was there for my OA meeting, you know, for eating, not for drinking.
And I also do like this angle of having Carrie be an OA, which is like Overeaters Anonymous. And, you know, we have Tess and Finley with substance abuse. And then the reason that I thought it was good is because they don't really have any sort of eating disorder or anything on the show, but also like there is absolutely zero representation for anyone that's over like 115 pounds on that show. And for anyone who doesn't know, I used to be like extremely overweight. Like, I've lost 250 pounds, which is like 14 stone. And that's like a big thing in my life, like making sure that I stay what I am now, and blah blah blah. I've still got like a tiny bit to lose. And although I don't go to anything like that, it is just nice to have that sort of representation again.
Needed to go to a meeting as I try to navigate your world.
My world? What world?
Well, like you know, just you all. I mean, Tina's friends and
I think that it was another really good choice, like just again expanding and having a bit more representation and trying to show people, hey, not everybody is, you know, a size 0, and there's so many other things that go along with like your weight and stuff. It's like with people's teeth, like I always say when I worked in dentistry, that there's so much that goes behind the teeth, and it's the same with weight. Like, when someone loses weight or someone gets their teeth fixed, like that's the biggest change that you see in someone. And it's not like, oh, their teeth look beautiful, or they, you know, can get into a size 10 and they look gorgeous. It's their inner confidence that like is mended and helped through, you know, losing the weight or getting your teeth fixed or whatever. Like, I know everybody can put on makeup and things like that with confidence, but the biggest changes I ever see in people is when they lose weight and when they get their teeth fixed. And I think there'll be so many people who can identify with that, because at the end of the day, the show is predominantly female audience, and although, you know, not everyone, but a large portion of women, especially today, and young girls do have an issue and disordered eating. So I think that it's another thing the show's calling attention to. And again, just another thing the show's drawing attention to, and I'm all for it. So Alice, did she get herself in some, oh my God, messy situations in this episode? So it seems as though, Tom wasn't in this episode. So Alice, I have a feeling that Alice is in an open relationship and Tom is not, because Tom has said before, when I'm with a woman, like I only see her, it's only about her. And I can imagine them sleeping together would have been like, you know, Tom saying, okay, like I'm seeing, maybe she's not my girlfriend, but I'm seeing this person. And I definitely don't think that Tom would have been expecting Alice to like not only go and sleep with someone else, but sleep with a woman and sleep with her ex who she still has feelings for. So it's super, super complicated. And I did love the Bette and Alice scene at the beginning where they're having brunch and they look outside and Gigi and Nat are there and Alice is like, did I summon them? Like, it was great. But Nat is definitely not, you know, going back on what she said. Like, she's been very clear to Alice that this is something that, you know, we even see her like flirting with another woman at the bar. So Nat seems to be out there living her best life, like, you know, seeing Gigi and having their little schedule together. And I think that Alice is really playing with fire here because Tom seems like a great guy. I think they're cute together, and it obviously isn't going to work with Nat because she's tried. So I think Tom next episode is going to be a bit hurt when he finds this out, and I'm a bit concerned whether he'll want to continue because, you know, this is pretty early doors that he's being really hurt. One of my favorite moments in this episode was the scene with Alice and Carrie. I keep wanting to say Rosie, but they were having like this little meta conversation about talk show hosts, and it just, I know things like that are so silly when like they're like, it's Rosie, you know, like it was silly, but I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great the way like she's like referencing her meta self. So I love that scene. I thought it was really cute. And yeah, Alice in her powder blue suit. I love Shane's question about whether she'd seen Dumb and Dumber too. So Gigi, I know I've talked about Gigi already, and I just wanted to put in here one more time how much I love them, how perfect they are, how I would die for them.
Not yet. It's real.
And they're just super precious. So I hope that it doesn't get fucked up. But unfortunately, Gibette is well and truly done. And Bette has moved on. So to talk about Bette, in this episode, she brings Pippa Pascal to the event that Shane's having and introduces her to Shane and Alice.
There they are. Hey, Alice, Shane, this is Pippa Pascal.
It is so nice to finally meet you.
Oh, well, thank you.
I thought that scene was sweet where Shane and Alice like are really excited to meet Pippa, and like that felt just so authentic of like introducing someone you like to like your best friend. So I thought that was really cute. And Bette is just completely taken with Pippa. Personally, I love Gigi and Dani, and I did love Gibette. Like, I do still love them and will continue to rewatch their highlights. But I am just not 100% sold on Bette and Pippa. And I just don't, I don't know, I don't see, to me anyway, this is just my personal opinion, I'm just not there like totally with the couple. Like, you know, they look really great together and stuff, but I just don't feel it with them. And their scenes were great and everything, and I really loved all of Bette's outfits in this episode, of course, but I don't completely feel it with Pippa. But the Bette scenes that I absolutely loved this episode were Bette and Carrie. Like the scene where they're at, talking about Bette going to soccer camp and like people calling them a dyke and stuff like that. Like, I absolutely loved that scene. They were brilliant. I think all of the Rosie scenes this episode, like the ones with Shane, Alice, and Bette, they were so good. And I can see why like Alicia and Kate and everyone were so excited to work with Rosie as well. And I thought it was great. So I do really like that she's back in the art world, and you just have that Bette like on her A game again, and she's talking about the CAC again. But yeah, I'm just not totally there with Bette and Pippa. Maybe they'll grow on me. We shall see. But at the end of the episode, we do have Rosie saying to Shane, "I can't marry Tina."
I just can't live like this the rest of my life. I don't think I can marry Tina.
So that will be very interesting to see if Shane just chalks it up to Carrie, like will Shane, I don't know, if I was in Shane's position, I don't know, would I tell Tina? Because I think that line that Shane had about, Tina's like family, I think that was supposed to reinforce with the audience, like, even though you have only had one tiny scene last season with Shane and Tina, like, because there's some people who watch this who haven't seen the original, so it's that reinforcement again about like their friendship and stuff. So I really, really hope that in episode 9 or 10, or preferably both, we get a Shane, Bette, Alice, and Tina scene. I will be really, really disappointed if we do not get a total OG scene this season. So I don't know whether Shane's gonna be like, her fiance said that she's not sure she can marry her, and all the Bette stuff that Carrie talked to Shane about. So it will be really interesting how Shane kind of plays it, if she chalks it up to, oh, she said it when she was drunk, and then also like, will there be a repercussion of this anyway, like whenever, so Laura Holloman, Tina's going to be in episodes 9 and 10, so next episode is like Alice's big launch party, like what will happen there, like will there have been some fallout from there? Because again, it's kind of unclear whether Rosie is in another episode, because episode 9 does not seem to be correct on IMDb, so it is possible that she is, but it's also easy for them to like write her off screen, and say, oh, Carrie's gone back east or something because she's, doesn't know what's going on with her and Tina or whatever. So I'm definitely, that was a big line that was not in there accidentally. Like, that is supposed to show us like Carrie is having serious doubts about her relationship with Tina, and it seems purely based on Bette. So I'm definitely intrigued with what they're doing here. And again, you guys, my theory. So if you haven't checked out my theory, there's a video on it that is only a few minutes long, so go and check it out. And that is pretty much it for this episode. And I will have my episode 8 unbelievably trailer breakdown up very shortly after this video, so the second it's up, I'll link it in the cards and down below and everything, so make sure you look out for that. And I honestly cannot believe we only have 3 episodes left of this season. So I don't know what I'm going to do with my life when it's over. But make sure that if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big like, as it really, really helps out the channel. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure to click that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any content of the L Word. And if you enjoyed the video, don't be afraid to share it, comment down below and let me know your opinions. And in the description box, you can check out my merch, follow me on social media, or join my Patreon if you want to. And also, I have a podcast called Drinks at Dana's. We've got 6 episodes already, so the new episode should be out Saturday, Sunday, depending where you live. So make sure to go and check us out on Instagram as well. So make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.